So I'm really hoping you haven't got Phylida fatigue, and my dog, who is right beside me here, Buddy, he would agree. He makes sure I do good content for you guys, and he said to me the other day, no word of a lie, he said, Dan, you need to review more Phylidas. You've only done about 4 or 5. You need to do more. He didn't really say that. That's me in my inner monologue saying, oh, these Phylidas, they're just highly addictive. I don't know why. Maybe that's the illness that we all suffer if we have a thing for these really good value watches. This cost me £58. And the fun thing about getting these £58-ish watches, which there are a number of, I'm waiting for a Corju coming, a Railmaster homage. That's coming in the post as well. And I'm like, why do I keep doing this? Oh, because I like other watches too. I spend, lots of money on these kind of things, Alpinist by Seiko. But I can't help but falling in love and being silly with a £58 watch because they are fun. That's why you watch these videos. Hopefully I can make it fun, informative, slightly entertaining, and at least learn a little bit of something. I try and include that in the mix, and that's what this video is going to be about. You can learn a little bit about the original watches that inspired this homage, obviously the Rolex Explorer. I won't go into too much history. You probably would have heard it a lot of times, but I want to recap that a little bit. What do you think, buddy? He agrees. Then I'm going to discuss this watch. What does £58 get you? Let's check it out. So here it is, guys. The homage to the Rolex Explorer. Now, specifically, it's actually homaging the 2010 update model, because it went up from 36mm. Previous incarnations of this watch went up to 39mm, and that's what this size is. And the reference number for the latest model is 214270 in terms of the larger case size. And the original reference number was 6350 for and the interesting thing about Rolex, people refer to that Explorer as the Rolex for people who don't like Rolex. And what they're getting at is the Submariner, people deemed on the whole was too bulky. It's a dive watch. And they wanted something a bit more elegant. That's where this comes in. Then there's the Daytona. It's been around for a very long time as well. That was deemed too flashy. All the extra dials. It's a very pretty watch, but it makes a statement. This is for people who want to be a bit more understated. It's deemed a field watch, but it's actually more of a mountaineer's, if that's a word, watch, because many people argue this wasn't actually the first watch worn. Not this one, obviously. Didn't have Chinese or Mars watches back in the 50s. When Sir Edmund Hillary climbed Mount Everest for the first time, he had 2 watches on him. He had a Smith's and he had an Explorer. So they both kind of can say they take credit for having the first watch that went to the top of Mount Everest. So that's a little bit of history. And if you haven't switched off already, I've been talking for nearly 2 minutes. I'm hoping this just gives you a bit of context to why people love the Rolex Explorer and why people can't always afford a £7,000 to £10,000 plus Rolex Explorer. What's a way of getting that look and feel without it feeling like a piece of junk? This is where Phylida steps in. And there are many other brands, but how's this come as a contender? So I'm going to get my special gloves on because this is a smudge magnet. That's part of this review. And we'll fly through the details, stats and specs, get some close-ups, outdoor shots, and then we'll finish with my final conclusion. And you'll then be better informed at the end of this video whether you want to buy it or not. I love putting gloves on. So I've waffled for far too long, as usual, without giving you guys any details about this watch. It's just sat there with some gloves next to it. So we're going to need some assistance with this task. We've already met Buddy. He's assisted me with my intro. And we've got Gipas, trusty friend. I've sized this watch up for my 7-inch wrist, which is totally average. And you want to know how much it weighs. It's a beautiful 141 grams. It's a sweet spot for an all stainless steel sports style watch. So that's good news. Dimensions. This is where wearing gloves is good. Give it a quick buff with gloves on, no fingerprints. And that's it. It's clean and shiny, smudge free. But it takes about half a millisecond to be smudged again. So Minch is going to assist us with this task. Case size is, if it's to follow true to form the Rolex, it's actually spot on, exactly 39 millimeters, which is very nice. This is only 12.7 thick, and it has a lug-to-lug length of the watch of 47.8. It's a compact size. It's good. Anything that's a nice bit under 50 is fantastic. So we've got a nice good size crown on here, over 6mm, nearly 7. Nice big size. No crown guards. Classic design. It's an elegant design. Just a shame it has the word Phyllis on there. Oh, I digress. Well, let's talk about the strap lug width. 20mm with solid end links. I'll show you that in a minute when I go underneath the watch. But there's a lovely taper, which is very nice. Again, another classic design feature. To have a good taper on a bracelet. Drops right down to only about 16mm. And then it jumps back up again at this lovely clasp, 18. These are really good sweet spot proportions. That's why many people deem this kind of watch, the Rolex Explorer specifically, a perfect everyday watch because it covers many bases. It's got enough water resistance, it's a decent enough size, it's elegant, it's comfortable. You can do anything with it. You can dress it up, dress it down, strap changes. It's a bit of a strap monster. That's why so many companies pay homage to this design, because it's such a success. They got it right for so many years. It's been tweaked along the way. I agree, this size isn't quite right. I would actually prefer them to have homaged the 36mm case size. The elegance of that design is spot on. It really is. It's absolutely perfect. It just works. It's not a small watch. It's just such a sweet spot when it comes to design proportions. That golden ratio of everything being in proportion to itself, you know what I mean? The dial, the bezel, the lugs, the lug width, everything. This is acceptable. 39mm is still a lovely, more contemporary size. As I said earlier, it's in reference to homaging the 2010 onward size, so that's acceptable. And I didn't go for the sterile dial version of this watch, which you can get if you just can't live with Phylida being written on your dial. I went for that because, again, even though I don't like the word as much as some people do, I don't hate it as much as others. And I wanted it on there for proportion and dial layout, effectively. That's why I did it. I wanted it to look balanced. Now I want to try it with gloves on, which is very tricky. This is why I didn't, from the very off with this channel, wear gloves. Look. Ah, bloody thing. I'm going to have to press pause, which I have to actually take my glove off to press pause because fingerprint recognition on my camera doesn't work. So gloves off. So I can get my thumbnail in there to open the lovely clasp and get it on my wrist. Show you how a watch of this proportion, of this size, fits my wrist. I just think that is really nice size. It's so comfortable. When I first got this, I wore it every day. I love it. But I've got too many watches. I just can't wear them all at the same time without looking like one of those dodgy street dealers with watches all up his wrist. Maybe that's a future career for me. But no, I think I'll stick with this for now. Now, I've covered, another glove fail. I'll put this down, put my glove on so I can, actually no, you know what I'm going to do? I want to show you some nice outdoor shots. Enjoy. So now you've seen, gloves are back on. Let's get Minch out of the way, he's not needed now. Now you've seen the watch outside. It's a looker. I want to discuss likes, dislikes, things I would suggest they improve, and what kind of watch, like, what would this fit in your collection? How would this fit in your collection, sorry. And let's start with some more details about the way this watch has been made. And that kind of then links into my likes, because I like the fact it does have sapphire crystal. I trust them on that. I don't have a Diamond Selector 2, unfortunately. I'm waiting for mine to come in the post. But sapphire crystal, no AR coating. It has lume, which I will show you, which is unusual. It has either a Chinese or a Myoto movement. And I've got the Myoto in this one. I don't know why I did that. No, I went for Chinese movement. I stand corrected, sorry. Because the rotor wobble It's a lot better on these Chinese clones. You don't get as much, and it's not as noisy. So I don't notice the rotor wobble when I'm wearing this in normal day-to-day use, which is great. Obviously, there's a lot of polishing going on with this watch, everywhere. The only place there isn't polished is on the underside, which you don't see, and the middle part of the bracelet. Sorry, the outer parts of the bracelet. Everything else is polished. The whole case is polished on the sides, the top, the lugs, everything. And that is good and bad. I think it makes it look attractive, but then it does have too much of a heavy polish aesthetic. And I think it could have done with being a bit more of a toolish design, toolish aesthetic if it had a lot less polishing. Bracelet maybe could have been the all brushed one. They do that all brushed bracelet on the Submariner homage they do. That would have been cool on here. Just take away from all that blooming polishing, which is why I'm wearing these gloves. Now, this movement is, again, it's okay. It's going to do the job. All you need to know is that they're proven to be generally reliable. They're fine. I wouldn't worry. At this price point, they're not just going to blow up. They're fine. So you do get manual wind. You do get a ghost position. That doesn't mean this is a haunted watch. There's no ghouls in there. It's just, you can hear that. I don't know if you can hear it clicking, but that is because there's a date wheel hidden underneath this dial. Some people hate ghost positions and will rage quit this video right now, but don't, please carry on. There's more to come. Then you've got the hacking as you do the time adjust. So you can do exact timekeeping. It's good. And the other good thing is how nicely this crown screws in. I'm wearing these awkward gloves and it screws in perfectly. Really smooth. It's very sterile everywhere else. There's no speck on the back, no signed crown, nothing. All you get is Phyllis on the dial. I mean Phylida, Chlamydia, Phylida, Verida mop. I think there's another one. I'm really upsetting Phylida if they watch my reviews. I'm really sorry. Anyway, oh yeah, let's go underneath the watch. Bracelet's all right, you know. There is a flaw though, which I will discuss very briefly in a minute. But the solid end links, beautifully finished, fit perfectly, no play. Generally, the machining is extremely good, smooth. The polishing aspects are really good, better than on the previous polished Phylidas I've had. The polishing is taken to the next level, and the way I would describe that as being the case is when you look at this at an angle, the polishing on here is done better. It's just there's no ripples, it's smooth. I know it's scratched a bit. You're going to get micro scratches immediately with polished surfaces, but it's very smooth polishing. It's very good. They have polished it well, and that's good. If you're going to do a heavily polished, finished watch, do a good job, and they have. So well done. But the flaw was, I had a, because I've sized this down, that's good news. But when I took a screw out, it was seized in here, and I had a nightmare getting it out. So, and that's because these are screw pins for the bracelet. So if you have problems with your screws on these, it's one of those things you might have a nightmare getting around. But luckily I just used some grips and managed to remove it, and that was the one I thought, well, that's the link coming out for me to size it down, which was lucky. So we got over that problem. But again, it's a £58 watch. Everything else is fantastic. The clasp is really good. It's very comfortable, well made. There's no sharp edges to worry about like you can get with these cheap clasps. And you get a really good glide style lock system where you unclick it like that and it slides. And then clicks in. Off you go. So you can do on the fly quick adjustments for real comfort. So easy to wear. That's why I like this watch. But let's say the downsides were it's too polished. There was a annoying that screw wasn't quite right. The proportions aren't quite right. God, blooming glove. Proportions aren't quite right with the overall dimensions of this watch, like the dial in relation to this bezel. It's just a bit blobby, a bit like it's put on a few pounds. Whereas the original 36mm case size watch was just perfect. That's why I just think sometimes when they make a more contemporary version of a watch, all they do is just make it fatter. They've done that with cars as well. I remember the back of the day with the Volkswagen Golfs. They just went, I mean, the Mark I Golf, how elegant and perfect is that with the thin A-pillars and all that. Oh, then it just got blobbier and fatter and just looked more like it's got a middle-aged spread. They don't need to do that with watches. They can be elegant still. That's why if you're going to get an homage watch, I'd keep an eye out for hopefully one day they'll do one that's as well finished and made as this, with less polish, and is a 36mm case size. That's what I want to see. If I was going to recommend an homage to the infamous Explorer, those little tweaks are what I would like to see. But in the meantime, for £58, you'll be very happy with this. So thanks for watching. And you thought I didn't do the loom. You'll be right. I always forget something. So here's a bit of the loom. Then we can finish this video. This is a good test to see who finishes right to the end of my videos, because I need to get more of you watching all the way through. The quirky thing is, blue on everything apart from the 3, 6 and 9, where it's almost imperceptibly bad, green. It's so bad I don't need to turn the lights out. Even if you're in like a black hole, you still wouldn't be able to see 3, 6 and 9. You'd have to have incredible vision. But all the blue parts are fantastic. The hands are amazing. Very good. So, a clumsy finish to this video, but it doesn't matter because you've got all the details you want. And hopefully you've had a laugh watching me review this silly little watch that cost me £58. And that's how we'll finish. See you in the next one. Bye for now.